Subject today is celiac disease, Crohn's disease, and the changing face of fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia was a condition that we have identified as the root cause is protein deficiency, and we thought we had it in a bag, tied up and safe. But fibromyalgia keeps changing. The root cause hasn't changed. But what we're finding out about it and what's happening in fibromyalgia people is constantly changing. And we found out that the celiac disease, which basically ends up as part of perhaps a malabsorption syndrome, is highly undiagnosed in this country, and it is difficult to diagnose for the most part. We have now an energetic test which we can diagnose it instantly. Some 20 years ago or more, they began to do intestinal biopsies after they suspected a person. But the diagnosis of celiac is as mysterious as is fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia, people have gone for 20 years before they got a doctor that could diagnose it. Now more and more doctors are diagnosing it. Celiac is pretty much in the same condition. A person can be suspected of it, and it may take 5 years before it's diagnosed, sometimes 10 years. We already had a solution for this, and the solution was in our two-edged sword diet book. Two-edged sword diet book starts to look better and better every year as we talk, because the usefulness of it is that we were diagnosing a disease and giving the antidote for it by removing wheat from the diet. Two-edged sword diet, as you remember, it has a subtitle, Beat the Yeast and Boot the Gluten. And is that ever a good slogan to have? Now, the bacteria in fibromyalgia people, since we're able to diagnose now drug-resistant strains, has increased tremendously. Sometimes they're found in well people and very often in fibromyalgia people. And the symptoms are harder to get rid of when the symptoms are caused mostly by these MRSA staph, super staph, or super strep, and now, lately, drug-resistant TB. Which we talked about importing into this country through immigration. So we're on top of all these things. There's a second part, by the way, to celiac disease. If you can picture the intestinal villi as small mountains in your intestine where your food is absorbed, and these mountains are being eroded constantly until we have a flat landscape with no more mountains. That's synonymous with not taking your food in anymore. So the relationship between malabsorption and celiac disease and Crohn's disease becomes larger and larger presence. When you compound the fact that this is also fed by resistant bacteria, let alone the viruses, hepatitis C and Epstein-Barr and cytomegalovirus, etc. These are all things that are found in the fibromyalgia patient, and again, mostly underdiagnosed or not diagnosed. So the solutions that we have are great, and we are modifying our look at fibromyalgia, and probably will update our fibromyalgia treatment packages in relationship to these new intruders. The story is that these bacteria, because they've been bombarded with tetracycline and vancomycin and things like that, develop resistant genes in order to survive in the intestine. Bad bacteria such as staph and strep come in, and they dance with these local home bodies and create what is equivalent to a swinging singles bar. And 28 to 48 hours later, these bacteria now have picked up snippets of DNA of vancomycin, erythromycin, whatever you have, and they have now developed an immunity to it. So the next time that you go in for an operation, if you got this in your body, you may come down with that infection. These things are endemic in the population, and we expect that we'll have more outbreaks and more outbreaks. It's too late to stop the antibiotics that started this thing, but it certainly can curtail the antibiotics they use. When they give you a virus that, when they give you a treatment for a virus, and it's an antibiotic, they are creating a monster, because they're giving you supposedly an antibiotic to stop associated infections. They don't touch the virus, never touch the virus, and they've created a monster that is going to come on for generations. So we just wanted you to keep up with our research and go to our website, because a lot of that is found there now on fibromyalgiacure.com.